Blue Apple Sonnet, which has a quote at the beginning. I accept the universe, Margaret Fuller. Are you okay? Whatever doubts and anxieties you might have are just manifestations of grief at the end of the world. But it's okay. The world is nothing. You are nothing. Time is nothing. There's no reason to beat about the bush by calling it asthma, like the Greeks. Theophrastus of Eresos, he knew nothing. Likewise, Heraclitus of Ephesus, and that Chinese person, Tao Qian, or even the Babylonian Enatem of Akkad, they knew nothing. So, baby, please stop crying, stop crying, stop crying. Baby, please stop crying, stop crying. I get it now. The apple is blue. Are you okay? Where is Julie? Dear Julie, hello. Open is broken. No. Saul gave a book to Sam. He gave Nikki the distinction between self and not self. The night genetic testing goes electronic prose echoes. Corot and Damia overlap on. There isn't much time. Are you okay? I don't envy you. History is fucked. You go, girl. That's what I'm talking about. There isn't much time. That friend of mine, M. Magnus, he knows nothing, except that sex is the transmission of precious knowledge from one body to another. You're good, girl. Baby, please stop crying. I don't envy you. The apple is blue. Spicer Radio Sonnet for David Berrigan. The bus stops briefly when someone cries and no one gets off, no one gets on. And everything stops forever, like there are two kinds of places in the world, something that comes from the outside as a wire reaches the afterlife of the pond, or everything comes a system of metasexual metaphor. The clothes wherein he walked naked. The sonnets engage the possibility of understanding Joe Brainard falling on the floor in a room with no bed. The fact of 14 lines as a site for messing around. So do I care whether or not God exists? No. I do care that Larry Fagan exists. Hats off to Larry, inventing a form each time he wrote a poem. This is just, something I learned over in England. Do you think I was just showing off? Big box sonnet. Listen carefully and you may detect a giant sucking sound across the world. The differences between tiny Rwanda and the rest of Africa are immediately palpable. Victory for Silvia Berlusconi can rarely have tasted so bitter. Emo of Friesland was Oxford's first recorded foreign student, and since 1190, they have kept pouring in. In the small world of traditional French Catholicism, everybody knows about Abbé Francis Michel. Some see this Bavarian village as a Catholic Transylvania and its almost 400-year-old passion play as a relic from simpler, less enlightened times. Thank you. As Arizona's lawyers prepare to enter more federal courtrooms to defend SB 1070, the state's new law against illegal immigrants, and the harshest of its kind, the other 49 states are watching for clues. A favorite bumper sticker on conservative cars in America asks people to pray for Obama Psalm 109b, worthless racist pricks. A year into America's recovery, the view continues to shorten and darken. On July 25th, Target, a big box retailer, opened its first Manhattan store up in Harlem. Gunfire rings out almost every day around the village of San Juan Popola. Confucius lives sonnet for Sandra. If Casey, then Zachary. When Jan, so Jess. Then when I see you, I am over the moon, with Melnick, Godfrey, Beauregard, Persky, Alan Davis, Schubert. And where Confucius lives, there is scramble and freedom from historical maladaptations embedded in the childhood script required in order to become free of inappropriate, inauthentic, and displaced emotions. Yo temo que Raquelita no venga. She can transform herself into herself. How does one dissimulate oneself? One. Her life script favors codependence, avec the invisible opera company of Tibet. Mystery sonnet. Whereof that some man hath the wheeler, and some man hath diseases, fell in love, else well all other things, the state of realms and of kings, in time of peace, in time of war, it is conceived of the starer, and thus saith the Naturian, which is an astromonium. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is a spiral galaxy. Not all galaxies are like ours, however. There are four major types of galaxies: spiral, broad spiral, elliptical, and irregular. We know how much dark energy there is because we know how it affects the universe's expansion. Other than that, it is a complete mystery. But it is an important mystery. It turns out that roughly 70% of the universe is dark energy. Dark matter makes up about 25%. The rest, everything on Earth, everything ever observed with all our instruments, all normal matter, add up less than 5% of the universe. But the most common view is that dark matter is not baryonic at all, but that it is made up of other, more exotic particles like axions or WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles. Lauren Isley. If there is magic on this planet, it is contained in water. The human body contains anywhere from 55% to 78% water, depending on body size. This is Veronilda sonnet for Casey Smith. Don't be dissing Gissing when you should be missing Gissing. I can't help reminiscing about Gissing. I saw Gissing kissing Santa Claus. I saw Gissing face the hissing literata of Victorian England. I saw Gissing kissing in the wind. I remember Gissing imagining a future in which Othmar Issing would be president of the Center for Financial Studies in 2006 and chairman of the advisory board of the House of Finance and whatever. Gissing dismissing French cooking and developing an unlikely and neurotic fascination with English food. The thought of an English potato, he said, made him frantic with homesickness. For 6 years, he lived alone, drawing inspiration, as he said sardonically, from his apartment's proximity to the Marylebone workhouse. He spent some months in Italy working on a monograph on Dickens that can still be read with profit, and his only travel book about an arduous trip to the south. Soon after his return to London, Gissing formed a union with Gabrielle Fleury, a young French translator, and he went to live with her and her mother in Paris. George Gittin died at Saint-Jean-du-Port on the Bay of Biscay on the 28th of December, 1903. Doug Lang's Talking Bear Mountain Picnic Blues Sonnet for Sam R. McCall. It isn't that I don't understand why people talk about what is a poem and what isn't a poem, or whether a poem is good or bad, or whether a poem has meaning or whatever. Sometimes these concerns seem to me to be kind of like class prejudice, or even racial prejudice, by which I mean that if you don't like my work, you're a fucking racist. What is the relation of creativity to conformity? That's all I've got to say, really. But there are 2 more lines needed to make this a genuine, bona fide 40-line poem. Up here on Bear Mountain, is this a picnic, or is it not a picnic? Tracy Mailboat Sonnet for Tracy O'D. Consider that one Paul Violi is enough, or another Paul Violi is enough, else rot my Groot, but sunders never so. Only all must be Paul Violi. All the loom of grievance, smacked with self-regard, gone like Pokemon's Facebook melange of Pikachu torture and Ferruginous songs of wrongly amputated knees, gone like Jerry Garcia. My problems got problems. Like the catastrophe waitresses, I blemish your smile, a word, a long time without photographs. Yes, I almost died. I mean, you almost died of ass. Merry and soft-hearted luxury and gaiety, joking and laughing, calling the body brother ass. Flip a nickel to a cripple, and yesterday he bought the flit gun and agua de Salona to use for a joke at a .com where gaiety infracted me to use for a joke, to joking or inappropriate gaiety said in fun. The Ballad of Joking Jesus. My mother's a Jew, my father's a bird. Southward over the bay, empty save for the smoke plume of the mailboat, vague as the jolty hours, led on the propitious May, as Caesar defeated his remaining rivals in North Africa in 47 BC and returned to Rome. Perhaps you will spare an hour that I may have the pleasure of introducing you to my...
Drone to the fan in the bathroom. Refrigerators rumble, casting ice. Fluorescent bulb winds in the lamp. Damp day fogs the glass. Razor wire rings the rooftop. A young woman rises to shake my hand. The helicopter green just hangs high over the gallery floor. The persistence of memory smaller than I'd imagined. The pinks of the women of Avignon too bright. I hear morning as the first siren trucks cough. Up Key Street to Deansgate, then over to Victoria Station, Northern Rail, west to Liverpool, gray clouds pillowing the sky. No height in these fields yet, whatever they're growing, hedgerow as fencing, an older station at Newton Llewellow's brick office padlocked, but the chairs on the platform, bright yellow vinyl, then the backsides of row housing with thin slivers of yards, school fields without baseball diamonds, magpies mistaken for mockingbirds, blood pudding, salad full of rocket, plane spotter in an anti-aircraft unit, learning first to drive a tank over the Egyptian desert, then determining never to leave England again. Sharp shadow over the page, writing into the dark. Notice is hereby given that it is proposed to change the name of Sparrow Park to Gallipoli Garden. Bury in bloom, reads the Jeep tipped in aforementioned garden. Fly all the way from London, and what's on the screen but cash cab? Squigglies in white paint at each intersection mean don't park here. I'm not listening to their conversation, but rather to the language, which I decide must be Greek, understanding not a word. The tall woman is wearing a giant box, plaintively calling your name. The little dog pirouettes just to see me. The market's a national treasure, but it's just off-brand tack in vast quantity. United puts away the arsenal to reach the finals. Canals everywhere. 10% of the people own 90% of the land. Ergo, 90% of the people live on just 10% of the land. The streets thus are crowded in the south. Locals discern a coarse tongue. Winston Kurnow and Barry Schwabsky in the very same room. Asparagus ravioli, Fleet Street being shorter than I'd imagined. Cutting short, Artie Gold, vomiting between sets as the turntablist samples Willie the Shake. Photo shoot by the Roman fort, speed at which towns blur by. Feeling blurry. Simon McGarfunkel, always with the cooked tomato, my kingdom for a floss. Trees shimmer perfectly still, but upside down, mirrored by the river, no more than a stream. Peat bog in the pine barrens, dogwood's blossoms all but gone. Birds won't fly in a straight line. The tea being hot steamed his glasses, which then cleared slowly. The argument over bitterns turned bitter. Poetry has been very, very good to me, who has proven but a meager steward. In the dark, but with the window open, attempting to sort the symphony of birds. Conch shell mounted atop a copper spike. Where I come from, fog never foretells rain. But here it is, difficult to discern where one ends, the other congeals into drops. First crow at dawn maketh one to yawn. The small fort stood nearly 2,000 years until amid the hurly-burly of rapid industrial expansion, it was knocked down without a second thought. 4-trill birdsong, or perhaps a female greenback heron. The thrill of the first signature's binding, white thread at the margin, is what I first wrote. Wind on the back of my neck, soften the break in the line, not as you hear it rhetorical, but throated, caught in the business of breathing. A kiss that momentarily proved a bit too intense, takes one's, the choice is in fact accurate, breath away, so that it is oxygen or the absence thereof that flushes the rush of adrenaline illuminating the night. Dickens lives but a block away. Words torn, unseen, unseemly seen, some far suburb's mall lot. Summer's theme, this year's humid, to sweat is to know. Pen squeezed too tight yields, ink as blood or pus, so the phrase scraped, removed, offending thine eye, outsourced bush against wish. Insource what? Who will do it? Most terrible predicate. High above mountains, snow-capped, even in August, in-flight motion, picture eternal sunshine of the spotless mind infuriates many. No action, no funny plot too dense to follow, unless mind's eye gives attention. First, blackbird signals many, synecdoche. Bumblebee wonders, am I his flower? 1 hour shopping and the vandals fled. Him will know not, never confront. So recall the next day that anger directed at complexity as we deplaned in Seattle. Old battle never won, never gonna. Sit now still beside Dungeness River to spot quail, hopping along this untrimmed garden as dog walkers circle back. Jet trails in dawn sky, thread cloud wisps, shadows sharp in the mountains. I pause 2 poems, 3 pages before book's end. First, growl of plane's motor, sun higher now, contracts shadow, dandelion froth blows over cut grass, spotted white tops of clover, something deep purple, bell-shaped, nameless, at least to me. I am what I am, chewing endlessly until I realize I'll never swallow whatever. Jays bark. First fog is deepest when trail ends. At first bend in the river. This in 6 weeks will all be swollen. Salmon, frantic in their competition. Men also. On the wire grid door screen, various bugs alight at dawn, drawn by the interior light. Something long with wings. Something no more than a speck with legs. I scream, you scream, we all scream for that which is unnameable, unquenchable, inconsolable, deep in one's chest, surrounding the heart. Art is a mode of stalking, balk at any configuration, at what's inescapably omitted. At Monticello, I very nearly wept to imagine just once the president as the smartest, most questioning, most rigorous of all. No, that's not it either. Seeing hand shielding brow, the trail ahead is empty. The man stops to unleash his dogs. Mist rises from the river. Bland competency distributed equally among hundreds begets only rebellion. What winnowing from the first book to the next, the nest, window, mountainside, garden fountain, yellowlegs and killdeer, searching the mud for tasties. Who here speaks English? Who here heart loud as grackles incessant laugh, battle after math's ironic sun? Economy trumps all. History where now teens cluster to mock tourism's earnest gait. It looks so small because it is. Trucks evacuating quarry, beep in reverse, diners posture, alert awaiting omelet, sausages, toast, behind whom the sun arises, white light or Morningside Heights, cook hollering to the cashier in Spanish, then English, then a third language I don't understand. Cringe before that glare until muted by cloud wisps. Monastic New York hotel room deep within shadows. What music mocks its maker? The ropes tug as dad shakes his beard. Lost daughter found, then sold into marriage. In walks Bert again, crossing into language. Subways, stairs become waterfalls under Ivan until flooding halts commute. What Milton sees the deaf hear or not. Cashews, pretzels, honey, roasted sesame sticks, the earth below flat and checkered, not yet autumn, dry desert heat, heart races, arts, phases, hard faces, heard in place in pink marble plaza beyond which red dirt surface of Mars is not more barren. Or you are being driven along an unfamiliar route through streets of your own former home, whole neighborhoods tinged with emotion. One still dreams of jets sliding into houses, apartment complexes gone. 1 millisecond of stillness, then the heat and burst an orange ball of flame explodes in the mind's eye. Anxious in your hotel room's great raft of a bed, for days the networks discover new amateur videos, waves far greater than one can imagine on the beach, bathers not even thinking to run, buses floating through streets of debris, Banda Aceh, this week's geography of the public imagination. Phuket's stream of tourists washed away, bulldozers scooping corpses, our newscaster alone in an empty village, only the battered mosque remains. Where are the people? How does this outer life apocalypse reported penetrate my dreams? 3 men on the street walking discuss who will reach 60 when the way as teens we spoke of 20, not even seeing the homeless woman asleep between the newspaper racks at Mission and 4th. 5th of Bourbon warns past between 3 beneath the bridge. Day is done, day is the ever-present challenge, wait or not,